right, guys, let's move on to the last article for today. We have the U.S. CoreLogic S&P Case-Shiller Index moves ahead compared with 2023, the 2023 winter bottom, the low, as we've continued referring to the fall and winter of 2023. Case-Shiller Index moves up 6% annually in January. This is from CoreLogic. I love CoreLogic, you guys. For those of you new to the show, CoreLogic always relies heavily on data, recorded data, and they don't they don't tend to weigh in a lot on an opinion, but they do share a lot of information that we can decipher what's actually happening. And then talk to you guys about this. So
I love data.
Signs of a thawing housing market are clear, especially when examining the availability of existing for-sale inventory, with new listings finally showing positive increases on an annual basis in recent months. But again, this is also on the heels of like the lowest of the lows we've kind of ever seen in our career. The 10-city and 20-city composite indexes posted the 7th straight month of annual increases in January, i.e., home prices are not going down.
So that's literally what I got from it was we're not out of the woods yet, but we're heading in a positive direction. Even though in the midst of horrible last 2-3 years, everything's still looking like it's going up. Even though it's slowly going up, it's still positive territory.
Yep.
So
you count 7 months. So it says 7 consecutive months of annual growth in January of 2024. Well, what was 7 months prior? Summer of 22. What ended December of 22? Fed hikes. So Fed hikes ended, and since then you see home prices going back up.
And you know what's crazy is 2022. We felt a difference, but it wasn't. We were pretty busy in 2022, even though there was such a low supply of homes during that time.
I mistakenly said summer of 22. I meant summer of 2023. 23. 7 months prior to January of 24 would have been the summer of 23. What I meant was when the Fed stopped raising their rates. We've had consecutive monthly growth of home prices.
Which makes sense because I feel like a lot of people go based off the sentiment of what they say. So as soon as they stop like running rates, they're like, hey, things are going to be getting better. Let's start, pushing forward and make things more better.
Well, they said, we're done. Yeah. They basically, they didn't say it that way, but they said, we're done. And so now that we're done, okay, cool. So then the price is set or the market is set. So now this is our equilibrium to then go do what we need to do. Yeah. And then you see selling and you see home prices making a resurgence again.
Oh, yeah.
So, and San Diego makes like the top of the list, you guys.
Of course.
It says in January, 14 metros saw faster price growth year over year compared with the previous month. Acceleration in annual gains continues to reflect a comparison with the home price bottom of January 2023. San Diego, Los Angeles, and Detroit continue to lead the 20-city index. And representatively, San Diego gained 11.2%, LA 8.6%, and Detroit 8.2%. And 11 metros saw annual price gains higher than the 6% increase.
Yeah.
I don't know. So San Diego's leading the charge. I mean, leading the charge in the wrong way or the right way? I mean, it's right if you're in the market.
You know what?
It's wrong if you
own a home.
You know what? It's right with the right
going up.
With the right rules and regulations that they apply here, right? Like, and now if we're seeing that solar thing, like, oh my God, do I really want to be in California? It's good. I'll probably just sell, But look at that, 11%. Like, it's crazy. How long can that continue?
I don't know.
That's what's concerning to me.
I don't know.
How long can that continue? I mean, come on, guys.
2 shows ago, we talked about this, and we talked about how San Diego had been outpacing the appreciation rate nationally, which it's confirmed here as well. But as that continues, if the U.S. average is 6% and San Diego's is 11.2%, that's already a 5% difference. Which means if next year the U.S. even slows down and it's, let's say, plus 2%, let's say the national average is appreciation of 2%. But then San Diego maintains this 5 margin. That means San Diego's still going to be 7% up next year.
Yeah.
So if that $1 million house is worth 7% more next year, are you buying today or not?
Yeah.
Can you afford today or not? Would you do it over renting or not? I think that's a question that most people are going to have to face themselves.
Yep.
And this trend is happening in L.A., Detroit, Chicago, Charlotte, Miami, New York, Cleveland, Boston, and Atlanta, all above 6%. You have Washington at 5% in 23 and 6% in 24 so far. Vegas also at 6%, and then it kind of cuts off. Everyone starts becoming 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Still positive.
I mean, how many cities did I just list off? 10, 12, something like that are at 6% or higher. The article said 11, but I think I counted a 12th. Washington, Las Vegas, yeah. So there is basically no change in this unless we just continue hitting a brick wall when it comes to affordability and people being unable. But I'm going to bring this full circle.
Yeah.
When you come to San Diego and you talk about how much military density there is here and concentration and married active duty that both pull BAH every month, they're qualifying.
Easy.
They're qualifying easy because we have the cost of living adjustment for San Diego, which already takes into account the high cost of living here, and then makes it so that they can't afford renting here if they were single. But when they're married, they have, let's say, surplus, and that surplus easily puts them in qualification. So we're not in a situation where the threat of unaffordability is actually threatening the market here.
Yeah. I think that has to do a lot with our rents too. They're able to cover them.
Well, I mean, yes, because the data that the VA gets makes them have to adjust their tables so that when they PCS people to San Diego, they can afford to stay here, and they're accommodating the cost through the BAH I'm not saying benefit through the BH money every month.
Yeah.
So when you're married and you're in San Diego and you're both active duty married or active duty one, and the spouse is working full time, you're in the market.
Yeah.
It really just comes down to going through the process, getting qualified, and finding a home.
Whoa. That's the hard part.
I know. Hold on.
That made it seem so easy.
I know.
I'm like all excited.
I know.
Yeah. Well, I'll come.
Hold on.
Where are these at? Where are these bars at?
Hold on. We spend plenty of time talking about the challenges in the market.
Yeah.
I'm trying to infuse a little bit of optimism for people who want to buy a home. So because look, you said you got an offer accepted this week. You said you just funded one or closed one. You had another one that funded, and you got another referral. So. We're not sitting here doing the show because we have nothing else to do. It's because
I get it.
It's because there are people buying, and the ones that I know I hear you talk about are active duty, where they're both active, or one's active duty and the spouse is married with a full-time job. Yeah. That's who's getting in right now in San Diego.
But it is tough. It's tough to get your offers accepted right now. My belief is it's all about relationships. You know, if the more reputable you are and people know you, the higher you can increase your chances of that buyer, veteran, getting their offer accepted.
Some of the conversations that I'm having a lot is people want to know where they're at, but they don't want to actually move forward with it and run their credit and take that big leap. So, I switched my approach a lot, and I said, okay, well then let's do it the manual way. Tell me what your debts are. Tell me send me your documents. I won't run your credit, but at the same time, if your debts are what you say, then this is more or less what you'd be approved for. Now, when you run the numbers, it could be different, but that's giving people the confidence to be like, oh, you know what? It looks a lot better than what I thought. And because of that, they're like, hey, here's my documents. Now I actually want to go forward with it, because once you're actually doing the numbers, breaking it down, and you run an analysis of what you're paying in rent or what you would be paying on a mortgage, like you said, down the line, it starts making more sense. You just have to take it right now. And unfortunately, look at it like an investment of time, of money, of you being responsible with your payments and, sticking to it. But at the end of the day, once rates come down and you get into a property, you're going to have so much more pivot room and more levers to pull than if you're just trying to get into the market.
The best quote I've heard when you saying that is knowledge is power.
Yeah.
When applied.
Yep.
And in this case, just put that information out there. Let's run the numbers, and now you have a better idea where you should be at or what you are able and capable of doing. Or sometimes you just need to pay some other stuff off.
And that's what the best thing is, that you realize that, like, oh, now I know what I needed to do. Like, why didn't I know that? Well, why didn't you do this before?
It's like anything we do, guys. Anything we do, like, going to the gym is just, I'm going to go to the gym. Da, 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 da. And then after you're done 4 or 5 times, you're like, man, why didn't I do this earlier?
Yeah.
I should have just kept doing this more.
And I highly encourage you guys to do that, because it's going to bring clarity. It's going to give you a sense of direction, and you'll know exactly what you're going to be able to do, not do, and then future cast it and prepare.
Yeah.
I think that's a great. I love that you made that point, because behind that, when I'm hearing you say those stories, and I'm hearing you off camera up at your office, I'm hearing you talk to people and getting offers accepted. The question is, do you want to be in the market, and do you want to chase it on the way up?
Yeah.
This data here is really that question. Do you want to be chasing the market on the way up, or do you want to be in it right now? Because I didn't get to this point yet, but in the same data set I gave you guys, on the very last page, there's a chart of the month-over-month price changes. And San Diego had positive appreciation in the low, mid, and high price tiers.
Yeah.
It's the only city in the composite index that had all 3 areas in positive territory. And the high tier and middle tier were both above 1% month over month.
Yeah.
So the question is, do you want to be
everywhere.
chasing this on the way up? If I said today you can have it for $20, and tomorrow it'll be $23, and then next week it'll be $24, and then the next week it'll be $28, when are you saying I want in?
Andy, I have a client right now that I'm working with. They've been here for 30 years.
Ooh.
Stationed. But they live in
Wait,
Coronado.
stationed? Wow.
They live in Coronado, and have the privilege of staying there in Coronado for the last 20 years. Okay? So they're barely looking into buying a home. And what do you think they tell me right now?
We should have done it when we first got here.
Exactly.
Oh my God, that hurts.
Exactly.
That hurts.
And those are the things. There's a lot of times that, listen, This is data. This is not being invented here. This is true data that's being gathered, with what homes are available, what they're selling for, et cetera, et cetera. These are the true market trends that are happening. So if you're in San Diego, we're not trying to influence anything. We're just trying to make you not regret certain things that you should have and were able to do, but you didn't do them just because, I'll do it next week or I'll do it next month. Just get it done.
Yeah.
Just go out there and get it done. Don't miss out on the opportunity. Opportunities are here to stay. And again, I always keep repeating myself, but it's time in the market, just like anything else. It's time in the market.
Especially 100%. If you're going to stay here. If
That's
your
right.
life, if your life is already leaning in the direction that you're going to stay here, then you should be here and you should probably get a place here. That's going to be the way it is.
Because I honestly feel like there's not going to be a huge significant drop here in San Diego where, everybody, and even if there is, it'll be a slight dip. People will, fill that dip real quick and then, continue its course right back to where it's at.
I mean, we're going to go to the simplicity of things. Supply and demand.
Yep.
There's no supply, guys.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's no supply. There is right now it's awkward. I had a seller that tells me well, we haven't sold this home. I'm getting worried. Well, I look at it. How long has it been in the market? It's been on the market for 29 days.
That's not a lot.
Are you kidding me?
It's above, okay, let's be honest
here.
It's above average, but it's not a lot.
Yeah. This is crazy.
But for San Diego, that's alarming because you're used to 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, under a week. Just hit the market in contract already.
And again, if you price it out right, you're going to get a lot of activity.
Yeah.
And that's actually one of the things that is being missed though by some sellers, that they think they can still price at prices from 2-3 years ago, and although they feel like, hey, why isn't my house selling? Well, you haven't adjusted to what the market is doing right now, that's why it's freaking sitting on the market. Maybe entice it a little bit more, and it will go up to that because more people are going to flood. So it's strategically how
that's
you
the
price
dissatisfied sellers from that other article.
I think you might be onto those dissatisfied sellers.
I don't get that.
I'm just vouching for the dissatisfied buyers.
Yeah.